You must remember what Amalek has done to you, says our Holy Bible, and we do remember and we are fighting.
This is Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu invoking a story from the Hebrew Bible which calls for slaying of men and women, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass of the enemy. And in this case, the enemy are the Palestinians. There is a brutal war going on in the besieged Palestinian enclave of Gaza, and it's being given a religious color where Palestinians are often depicted as expendables with little value attached to their lives. Netanyahu's fanaticism shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. After all, he has struck a political alliance with far-right parties, which derive their ideology from this man, Meir Kahane, the founder of the Jewish Defense League. Kahane was assassinated in 1990. But his violent legacy lives on. He was among the first to call for the expulsion of Arabs from Israel and the occupied territories.
It's an immutable problem, and therefore I want them out in any one of their 22 countries. May God bless them all, and just leaving my one country.
His followers, who call themselves Kahanis, have been behind some of the worst atrocities. One of his disciples, Barak Goldstein, a Jewish American, butchered 29 Muslim worshippers in Hebron in 1994. Another of his followers killed former Israeli Prime Minister who had signed Oslo Peace Accord with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. In 2015, Jewish settlers who burned down the home of a young Palestinian couple, killing them and their baby, were linked to Meir Kahane's grandson. And believe it or not, the source of so much trouble between Palestinian Arabs and Israelis wasn't even born in the historic land of Palestine. Martin David Kahane, that's his given name, was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. His father Charles was a fervent Zionist who hosted Jewish militant leaders like Menachem Begin at his home. As a young man, Kahane joined B'ther, a Jewish militant group which was behind attacks against British in the 1930s. Kahane was fond of degrading fellow Jews with a terse, "What a schmuck."
Jesus, what a schmuck. Shut up.
But he was no hero. His most notable achievement in resisting the British was when in 1947 he, along with some comrades, threw vegetables at the anti-Zionist British Foreign Minister Ernest Bevin. Later in life, Kahane would become famous for his inflammatory remarks.
We've always said it, and we say now, and we always will say, violence is bad. Violence is a reprehensible thing. And sometimes, when there is no other way, it's necessary. That's our policy, and it will always be our policy.
But he never actually went to Israel in the 1960s and 70s to take part in any of the wars. Instead, he became a rabbi at the Harvard Beach Synagogue, where he gradually attained reputation as a divisive preacher, who at one point wanted to separate the male and female members of the congregation with a floor-to-ceiling screen. Despite being an Orthodox Jew who would often speak about women contemptuously, Meir Kahane had an extramarital affair with a 23-year-old model, Gloria. He did not tell her that he was already married and had kids, and one fine day he broke up with her. Her heart broken, Gloria jumped into the frigid East River waters in New York. A picture of her anguished face while being rescued was splashed across newspapers. She died a few days later. Such incidents wouldn't stop Kahane from pursuing his life's goal. You see, Kahane thought of himself as a messiah who was destined to do something big for the Jewish people. In 1968, he founded the Jewish Defense League. His first mission was to take on the black people who JDL thought were becoming a threat to white Jewish teachers in New York. Kahane became notorious for indoctrinating young Jewish men with slogans like "Never Again" and "Every Jew a 22", encouraging them to take up arms.
You have guns that are legal, and what we're trying to do is call upon every Jew to have a gun, a legal gun, every Jew at 22.
Over the next few decades, JDL was involved in various terrorist activities. It bombed a hotel and its militants used a sniper rifle to shoot at the residence of Soviet ambassador to the US. In 1971, after facing intense US pressure, Meir Kahane moved to Israel. Eventually, the Americans cancelled his passport, but that didn't stop his organization from carrying out terrorist activities within the United States. Kahane's JDL was behind the 1985 pipe bomb explosion that killed Alex Odeh, a prominent Palestinian American. His killers still live in Israel as free men. In Israel and occupied West Bank, Kahane would march the streets with a band of extremists harassing Palestinian Arabs. And over time, his rhetoric became even more poisonous.
The Arab is a cancer in our midst. And you don't coexist with a cancer. A cancer you either cut out and throw out, or you die.
Kahane never really attained political success in his lifetime. He was able to reach the Knesset in 1984, but Israeli Supreme Court later banned him from taking part in elections. It was thought that the Israelis have moved on and forgotten his brand of racist politics and communal hatred. But more than 30 years after he was killed, his violent politics and ideology continues to survive in the shape of politicians like Pan-Giver, Netanyahu's security minister, who recently went around distributing American-made rifles among Jewish settlers. While Hamas resistance fighters are often depicted as religious fanatics, the truth is that there is a fanatic group on the other side as well, which not only wants to take away liberty, dignity and freedom from a people, but wants to throw them out of their homeland forever. Thank you for watching this video.